A centrifuge is a simple machine. Spin uranium gas fast enough, long enough, and you can enrich it, make it more powerful, make it into fuel, or if you spin enough of them for long enough, make it into a weapon. In 2010, Iran had nearly 1,000 of these centrifuges running deep underground at a facility called Natanz, buried under concrete and steel, guarded by soldiers, cut off from the internet, by every measure, unreachable. And yet, something got inside, something invisible, something patient. It didn't blow up a building, it didn't fire a missile, it didn't leave a crater, it just waited and watched. And then, very quietly, it started to lie. This is Stuxnet, the first true cyber weapon. And the day it was discovered, warfare changed forever. June 2010. A small cybersecurity firm in Belarus gets a call from a client in Iran. Their computers kept crashing. Blue screens, reboots, nothing they do fixes it. The researchers pull the files, they start digging, and almost immediately, they know something is wrong. This isn't a normal virus. Normal malware is messy. It's written fast. It reuses stolen code. It leaves fingerprints everywhere. This was different. This was engineered, precise, layered. The researchers described it as something they had never seen before. Not in complexity, not in sophistication, and not in intent. It used 4 zero-day exploits. Zero-day is a vulnerability in software that nobody, not even the company that made the software, knows exists yet. Finding one zero-day takes months, sometimes years. Using 4 at once in a single piece of malware that had never happened before, ever. The security community lit up. Word spread fast. This wasn't cybercrime. This wasn't a teenager in a basement. This was something built by a nation state, with resources, with time, and with a very specific target in mind. The question was, what was the target? Here's the genius and the terror of Stuxnet's design. Iran's nuclear facility at Natanz was air-gapped. That means it was physically disconnected from the internet. No email, no web browsing, no remote access. In theory, nothing digital could get in from the outside world. So Stuxnet didn't come from the internet. It came from a USB drive. Someone, we still don't know exactly who, plugged an infected USB stick into a computer connected to the Natanz network. Maybe it was an engineer, maybe it was a contractor, maybe someone who had no idea what they were carrying. The moment that drive was plugged in, Stuxnet moved. It spread silently across the internal network, scanning every machine it touched, and it was looking for something very specific, a type of industrial control software made by Siemens called Step 7, used to operate a particular model of a centrifuge motor. If it didn't find that software, it went dormant. It didn't damage anything, it didn't announce itself, it just waited on the machine, invisible, ready to move again if the opportunity came. But if it did find the right system, it went to work. This is where Stuxnet becomes something almost elegant in its cruelty. The centrifuges at Natanz needed to spin at a very precise speed, around 1,000 cycles per second. Too slow and the enrichment process fails. Too fast and the machine tears itself apart. Stuxnet knew this. Once inside the control system, it began secretly sending false commands to the centrifuge motor, ordering them to spin too fast, then too slow, then too fast again, stressing the machines beyond their limits, causing wear, causing damage. But here's the part that makes your skin crawl. At the same time, it was feeding the control room monitors perfectly normal data. The engineers watching the screen saw nothing wrong. All readings were normal. All systems were green. While their machines were being quietly destroyed, the operators had no idea. Stuxnet was lying to their instruments while it sabotaged their equipment. Over months, Some estimates say nearly 1,000 centrifuges were damaged or destroyed. Iran's nuclear program was set back by some estimates between 1 and 2 years. And for a long time, no one could figure out why the machines kept failing. No government officially took credit. That's how cyber weapons work. Deniability is the point. But the evidence over time became overwhelming. In 2012, multiple journalists and officials, citing anonymous sources inside the US government, reported that Stuxnet was a joint operation between the United States and Israel. It was codenamed Operation Olympic Games and had begun under President George W. Bush and continued under President Obama. The goal was clear: slow Iran's nuclear program without triggering a conventional war. No boots on the ground, no airstrikes, no diplomatic catastrophe, just a piece of code slipped inside a USB drive, doing its damage in the dark. The scale of the operation required deep cooperation between US intelligence agencies, particularly the NSA, and Israeli intelligence. The centrifuge models were reportedly replicated in a lab so the weapon could be tested in real-world conditions before deployment. This wasn't improvised. It was an industrial project. And then it escaped. Stuxnet was designed to be contained. It had hard-coded limits. If a machine didn't match the exact target profile, it was supposed to lie low. It was supposed to stay inside Natanz, invisible, controlled. But software is unpredictable. A code update, reportedly added by the Israeli side without full American sign-off, made Stuxnet more aggressive in how it spread. And in 2010, it escaped the facility entirely. It propagated across the internet. Hundreds of thousands of computers in dozens of countries were infected, mostly in Iran, but also in Indonesia, India, and the United States. Most of those machines showed no symptoms at all because they didn't have the target software. But Stuxnet was out there in the wild, and the world's security researchers could finally get their hands on it, which is how we know what we know today. Here's why Stuxnet matters beyond the history of Iran's nuclear program. Before Stuxnet, a cyber attack meant stolen data, leaked passwords, defaced websites, embarrassing, costly, but ultimately virtual damage. Stuxnet crossed a line that had never been crossed before. It used code to cause physical destruction. Machines broke, steel and aluminum were torn apart. A nation's strategic infrastructure was damaged, not by a bomb, but by software. The boundary between the digital world and the physical world was erased. And the moment that happened, every government on Earth had to reckon with a new question. If this could be done to Iran's centrifuges, what can be done to us? Power grids, water treatment plants, hospital systems, financial networks. All of these run on industrial control systems. All of them are, to varying degrees, connected to networks. All of them are, in some form, targetable. Stuxnet didn't just attack Iran's nuclear program. It published a blueprint. It told every nation-state actor with resources and ambition, this is possible. This is what it looks like. Now go build your own. And they did. In the years after Stuxnet, we saw a dramatic escalation in state-sponsored cyber attacks. The Sony Pictures hack, the Ukrainian power grid attack, the destruction of Saudi Aramco's computers, NotPetya, which caused $10 billion in damages worldwide. The playbook Stuxnet wrote has been read by everyone. Somewhere deep underground, in a facility most people will never see, centrifuges still spin. Somewhere in a server room, in a data center, in the infrastructure that keeps your city running, code is executing right now that nobody fully understands. Systems built on systems. Layers of software written by people who retired decades ago. Stuxnet didn't just damage centrifuges. It proved that in the modern world, the most powerful weapon isn't a warhead. It's a USB drive and patience, and the willingness to lie to a machine until it destroys itself. This has been Threat Files, because the next breach is happening somewhere. If you want more real cybersecurity stories explained in simple terms, subscribe or drop a comment on what you think we should cover here at Threat Files. See you in the next file.